Vlog number, is that 14, 15? I have lost track. Today's topic, it is knowledge is power. That could be it. Maybe I'll change my mind. Let's see what the headline says when the video is uploaded. But as I've mentioned in other videos, I am researching my butt off to learn as much as I can. And it's a fascinating topic. And I also realized that I start to get a little bit too assumptions as far as what I think I know about things. So like, for instance, I've decided, that was my decision anyway before, that I wanted to do ADT maybe on the 24th. And the reason why I am less reluctant with the ADT is because I can stop it and all the side effects basically will go away. So you could argue that that is actually the most, the softest solution. But it all depends on for how long I'm going to stay on it. It also depends on whether I can get some suppressant for the initial spike and flare in the testosterone when using, for instance, Lupron, which I mentioned before. That is obviously a big question. But then I also became a member of another prostate support group, a support group for people under the age of 50. Under the age of 60. Very interesting. This is young people, all of them. And I've only been a member of that group for like 12 hours or so, but they're already asking some really good and interesting questions, and they are also giving some input that I needed to research a bit further. Because one of the things that gives me a good calm these days is that I always have the medical industry to fall back on. Not something I want to fall back on, but I know I got that handbrake. But then a guy mentioned that he's been told by his doctor that neither hormone therapy nor radiation will kill cancer. And I was like, no, hold on a second. There's something wrong there. Radiation, chemotherapy, and surgery obviously removes cancer. But it was not something that I've been looking much into. I just assumed it. But I also assumed that hormone therapy would kill cancer, and I, during that research, realized no, it doesn't. And so now I looked into the radiation therapy, and it is all depending on a lot of different factors in biology. And it may only kill the cancers, but what it does, for sure, it alters the DNA. It alters the DNA in the body, and it alters the DNA in the cancer cells. And just like with chemotherapy, the assumption is that the damage done to the healthy cells will be repaired because they're stronger and they repair better than the cancer cell does. So in turn, radiation is just as bloody toxic as chemotherapy. And all the way through the lecture that I looked about how it worked, it is all assumptions. It may kill because it has to hit the cancer cells at the end of its cycle to have an optimum effect. And that's why a treatment lasts for 6 to 8 weeks, because they have to be sure that at every cycle they hit new cells that has a new cycle. Wow. I don't know really how to express this, but the more I find out, the more I realize that there really isn't all that big of a difference between doing your own thing or doing the medical thing in terms of not knowing the outcome. There are no guarantees with any of the treatments they have. The only guarantee is a certain amount of side effects, adverse events. And you could say and argue that by doing it my way, the guarantee is that I don't have side effects, or if the side effect is, then it's a very critical one. Obviously it is that I will die from my cancer because I'm not getting treatment. But I hear so many people mentioning that the cure often is worse than the disease. And I seriously think that's the case here. I hear this Prostate Cancer Research Institute advocating for radiation because they're becoming so much better at it. Well, they're still not good at it. They just become better at it. They're still randomly damaging everything in its path. They still have so little control that every patient is, to a certain extent, treated with the same amount of radiation. And it passes through a lot of healthy cells to get there. Chemotherapy? Well, they hope the drug will kill off cancer before you get killed. Radiation. They hope they manipulate the DNA of the cancer cells faster than they manipulate the DNA in healthy cells. Oh, man. I feel like I'm in the exact same situation as I was during the COVID. During the COVID, I was afraid that I would not be able to stay here in Thailand if I was not vaccinated. It was kind of how the wind was blowing in the beginning before the first vaccine really had a rollout. I was not keen on getting it, but I was not against it. So I started doing my research to see which one to take once I was pushed against the wall and needed to take one. So I started doing my research, not to avoid it, but to figure out which one was the best. And the more I dug, the more I realized it is downright stupid to do it. Now I'm sitting here again. Now I'm not pushed by the medias and by the rhetoric of, oh, you're killing your granddaddies and grandmothers if you don't do it. Do it for your neighbor. Do it for your loved ones. Do it for this and that. No, I'm not. Now I'm not pushed by anything, but by the traditions and the norms and the standards and the expectations. If you're sick with cancer, you seek medical attention because the medical facilities, they know. And I agree. If you're talking to a radio oncologist, if you're talking to a urologist, if you're talking to any of all those ISTers, they are very, very knowledgeable in how their way of working works. I mean, I would not want any other than those specialists if I wanted to get knowledge about how chemotherapy or radiation or hormone therapy works. Those are the people to go to. But if you want a doctor, a real doctor, you want somebody who has that amount of knowledge, but has everything else too. I mean, we're talking lifestyle and food here. Oh, gosh, I'm annoyed. Early stage 3, but here's the thing also. I was actually lured into believing that if I took the radiation, there was a chance that I could get cured. But cured from what? A cancer that I can manage myself without side effects in exchange for side effects, DNA manipulations, and all the things that I really don't want to enter in my body with the COVID vaccine. Now radiation seems to be in more direct manners and ways doing just that. Oh, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy because there's nobody to share this information with. How many people on this planet are carnivores? A very, very small minority, because the whole machine is run into position to say, if you don't want to think about your own health, then think about animal rights and think about climate. And everything is pushed vegan. So finding somebody with the mindset of a carnivore, that's not very easy. Then again, finding the mindset of a carnivore is not difficult, but finding one that has this 80-20% attitude as me, that becomes a little bit more narrow, because all these different kind of diets becomes religions to so many people. But then you also got to find somebody who has got prostate cancer within that group. Not just that, you got to find somebody with prostate cancer within that group that has an open mind to the whole spectrum of possibilities when it comes to healing. and not just in total panic run straight into whatever knife a surgeon might have, or whatever beam cannon a radiologist have, or whatever drug a doctor have to suppress your testosterone. Well, anyway, I have luckily given myself until the 22nd to get the PSA measured, and the 24th to figure out what to do. Actually, I've given myself to the 22nd of February, but at least those are the deadlines, and there's still a couple of weeks ahead there. A lot of times to make good changes, but frustrating. Until next time, stay healthy.